A lovely story came our way, and you might remember yesterday morning, you might have heard the news here, that the conference organisers of Ireland were basically projecting €70 million in losses in the coming year. One local company that I've worked with on many occasions over the last long number of years is Go West. And Kerry O'Sullivan of Go West joins me on the line. Now, I spoke to Kerry yesterday morning, and she was actually controlling a conference from Galway for 1,000 people. But to tell us that story and more about it, Kerry joins me on the line. Kerry, good morning to you.
Thanks a million for having me on.
But I came across this story when everyone else is giving out about conferences and all that go with it. You've come up with a novel way of controlling the virtual conference like you were doing yesterday morning from 9 o'clock onwards. 1,000 people is some achievement.
We actually had 1,200 people attend a conference over 2 mornings. We were working with the EPA, and they have an annual, what they call their National Water Event, and they run it every year in Galway. And unfortunately, because of the COVID situation that we're all currently in, like all events, it was cancelled as a live event. But we worked together and we decided within a 4-week time frame, which was tight, but we decided, you know what, business has to get moving, like what you're doing now. Everybody, you have to get out there, you have to get the bull by the horns, and you have to move on. So we decided, yes, we're going to go ahead with this, and it was an absolute outstanding success. The engagement and the passion that I witnessed within the water community, that was amazing. As I said, we had 1,200 attendees. There was representatives from all over Ireland, from about 100 organisations, 31 local authorities, academic institutions. We had engineers, environmental consultants, loads of environmental groups, and also some members of the general public. But I suppose the most important thing was it did go ahead, and it shows that it can be done. And it's a very, very successful way to keep communities talking to each other and to get your message across to your customers and to your colleagues.
And what technology did you use, Kerry, on this one?
Yeah, so we used a virtual platform where it actually was a web-based conference app. And it worked really well. We were able to stream all of the presentations through this app, and then once you had registered, you got access to the app, and that meant then you could, if you liked, you could put your public profile. Obviously with GDPR, you have to decide, I'm going to have myself public or not, and you were able to interact with other attendees. You could also participate in polls. You could submit your questions direct to the presenters so that they could then answer during the Q&A session. So there's a lot of challenges. It's not easy to do. There's a lot of challenges involved in running a virtual conference. But again, they are all easy to overcome, especially if you have, say, the likes of Go West there. We're experienced. We're an experienced event management team. We've been doing virtual events while they're new to everybody now. They've come center screen because that's the situation we're in. But we've actually been running virtual events for years. We ran with, I don't know if you, Dr. Bobby Coughlin, he ran a very successful series of educational webinars. They were actually award-winning webinars. So we were involved with him for years. And, to be honest with you, hybrid and virtual conferences within the industry is actually part of the future that we were working towards. And it was one of the reasons why we made the move to GTEC. GTEC is a fabulous community that the Údarás is building in Spiddal. We have access to really good broadband there, and we have then, of course, the support of the Údarás, who are doing fantastic work. And it's the most amazing building, lovely, modern, building a fantastic community there. So we were part of this. And unfortunately, again, COVID interrupted everything. But the message is that you can actually there can be some light at the end of the tunnel. And I think really we just have to all decide, you know what, we're going to turn around and get out there and keep going.
And is it true that you were like an air traffic controller with Kathleen yesterday in the GTech building? Were you queuing in the speakers, and were you queuing in tea breaks, and were you queuing in breaks and presentations?
It was exactly, I don't know what it's like being a radio producer, but if you can imagine, I'm in GTech in Spiddle. My speakers are located all around the country. In actual fact, they're also located in Scotland. They're everywhere. My AV technician is located in a different country as well. I have another AV technician that's down in Ennis, and we're all working remotely. So it is like you have a very detailed running order, and I'm exactly like that. I'm queuing, next up, next slide up, next person up, cue sound, cue. That's exactly what it's like. And we had different incidences, like, Keith, because everybody's working remotely, that we'd have one of the directors of the EPA in his dining room, actually, I think he was in Wexford, and the next thing we could hear knocking, and we could see that he was kind of waving. Now, actually, the people watching the live stream couldn't see this. We had created a virtual speaker room, so I could see the speaker room, and the AV technicians were, and I was going, what is he doing? He was waving out the window. We could hear knocking. His postman had been knocking at the door, and he wanted to deliver a package, so then he came around and started knocking on the window. So there was lots of little incidences like that had to be managed. But overall, as I said, what I saw yesterday was that you have to plan the agenda, and you have to allow for, and you have to give the delegates and the attendees the opportunity to interact with the speakers, to submit their questions. So, it's a different way of running the day.
But you did it. It's a success. You're ahead.
Yeah,
you're ahead of the posse. And for those that were giving out about it yesterday and said they were going to lose 70 million, Go West, based in Galway, set up by yourself and Kathleen. You've taken, as you said, the bull by the horns, and you're delivering. I take it they can get further details on gowest.ie if they want to get further details. But it's a lovely story.
It's a great story. But what I have to say as well about the AIPCO is that that's a different niche. The AIPCO, there's 10 of us that we're members, and we bring in international conferences. Yeah. And they would have been like the conferences that you would see based in the university. Like this year, to be honest, I had one that was going to go to Westport, and 2 weeks before it was going to take place in Westport, Leo made the announcement. I had 200 veterinary epidemiologists that were due to land in Westport. It was worth, I don't know, 320,000 euros to the local economy there, and that was wiped out. And that's what the AIPCO is talking about. It's this international business. And like that SPEPM, that conference that was going to happen in Westport, I made the bid to bring that to Westport. That bidding started 2.5 years ago there's a long lead into those international conferences. And there's loads of ambassadors that are based in the university here in Galway who this year they had fantastic conferences due to come. Okay. They really did. You had the likes of Dr. Chow Sheng Sang, you have Patrick Fogarty, loads of them that were coming, and they've all been cancelled. And it's such valuable business, but it takes time to build it up. And the problem is that, like everybody in the events industry and the conference industry, overnight all our income got wiped out, and we're all facing, because they're international, there will be no income for 2020. Okay. And then that means going forward, how will this business come into Ireland? If there are no PCOs that deal with international association conferences, there cannot be that business coming to Ireland. And that's what we're saying, that there's the potential that there's a loss of 200 million to the Irish economy. And that's how serious it is, Keith. Right. And I mean, I know everybody else is facing that challenge, but it is a massive challenge. But the good news is we can turn some of it around, and that's what we proved yesterday. with the EPA.
Well, listen, well done on that. We will come back to that situation, the APCO situation next week, the Association of Irish Professional Conference Organisers. We will come back to it because that has a huge effect here on Galway City and Westport, as Kerry said. Well done, though, to Kerry and indeed to Kathleen and all the team in Go West. Well, they are the team in Go West, but well done to them yesterday and into the future.